Hello there, everybody. So, today we are going to be talking about Ferdinand Marcos and his life. And also, we'll be talking about Cory Aquino as well, who will play part in this story as well. So, let's get started with this introduction to his life. So, it's just going to be very simple, but I have a very detailed explanation on Cory's life too. So, let's look forward to that. So, let's start. So Ferdinand Marcos grew up as a very smart boy in Ilocos, I think. Yes, he's been born there, and he was a very smart child because when he started to grow as an adult after World War II ended, he became a lawyer. Then he became a senate, and then he became president of Philippines, which is pretty cool. And his president life was very, very wild. So I'll be talking about that right now. So he reigned in office for about 20 plus years, which was very, very, very long time because nowadays most presidents usually rule for about 5 to 6 years, basically like that. So that was quite a long time for Ferdinand. So let's take a look at what has happened when he was president and stuff. So first of all, peso, the Philippine currency, and the dollar was almost the same value, which was a very big deal at the time. During now is because nowadays $1 equals to 60 pesos, but before $1 equals 1 peso, and that was just the time when Ferdinand ruled. So that was a very, very good start. And next of all, he ended poverty in many parts of the Philippines since he was such a kind president. So yeah, that's one good thing about him. He was a smart president, and the Philippine economy was thriving and doing pretty good at that time. It was doing great, like the trades are doing good and stuff, and yeah. So let's get on to the bad parts that should have happened. And also, here's a tiny fun fact, by the way. Did you know that his son is currently president of the Philippines right now? He became president just 1 year ago. So yeah, that's very, very cool. And his name is Bongbong Marcos. Yup. So yeah. So things started to take a turn ever since this person named Cory Aquino stepped in. So her husband, Ninoy Aquino, was gonna fly back to the Philippines, but little did he know that would be the last ever occurrence in his life that he would probably remember. So once he would get off the plane, gunshots were fired and he suddenly died. And then Cory Aquino, the wife of Ninoy Aquino, who was assassinated at the Manila airport, spread lies about Ferdinand Marcos having something to do with the assassination, and then suddenly the rumors spread far and wide across the Philippines, which resulted into the people power, which was 2% of the Philippine population, which was quite a lot at that time. Because can you imagine millions of people gathering all just because their president assassinated Ninoy Aquino, which isn't
Senator.
who was
Senator.
a senator of the Philippines? Well, yes,
He was not president.
he wasn't president at that time. So yeah, so that's exactly what happened, and a lot of people went against Marcos, and they started to flood up the Malacanang Palace, and yeah, that's where they lived at that time and stuff. So yeah, and you could hear people screaming and telling him to get out of there, and even his own soldiers said that they should try to go make sure the crowd goes away by firing and aiming at them. But instead, since Marcos was such a kind-hearted person, he decided to tell his guards not to put on fire and just make sure the crowd goes away without hurting them or anything. And here's a little thing that will happen into the story, but I cannot tell you yet. So yeah, so they drove off the people without hurting anyone, which, fun fact, it could result in a ton of people dying if he really didn't have that heart. So we should be very grateful that a lot of people did not, unfortunately, did not die that day because of his kindness. So yes, so sadly, the rumors spread far and wide, to the point Marcos was seen as had a really bad reputation. Well, the thing is, I believe that most of these rumors really aren't true at all, because, like, have you seen what he's done? He's helped the economy, he's helped poverty rates decrease, he's done so many things. He's done a lot for the Philippines, and he has made the Philippines one of the richest countries at that time, which I believe is right. So yes, so I cannot believe that was such a waste, because he was truly one of the greatest presidents of all time. So yes, let's go see what happens next.
What are his projects before?
So yeah, he did the martial law. He ruled with martial law.
Projects like Meralco, bridges.
Oh yes, he's did some bridges in the Philippines. He's done a lot of things, and to the point, since when people found out the truth, they decided to make a statue of him in the future, which yeah, was very good. He helped the Philippines progress, which sadly doesn't do that easily nowadays. So yes, the past is very interesting. So let's continue with our story. So they exiled him to Hawaii. He was thrown out of the Malacanang palace, and he was thrown out of his own home country. Well, luckily, people in Ilocos really didn't believe those rumors, because he was seen as such a good child at that time, and they knew that their Marcos wasn't like that at all. And I feel very proud of them for not believing all those lies about Cory Aquino, and a lot of Filipinos were blinded that day and for many years on. So let's continue. So he got exiled to Hawaii, and then unfortunately he died later on. And by the way, his wife Imelda Marcos, I think, is still alive right now, and she is I think about 96 years old. So yeah, that's very, very cool, and I'm glad that his son Bongbong Marcos is gonna continue making the Philippines an even greater place, and maybe improve it a bit more. But it's only been a year, so it's just the beginning, and I can't wait to see what is gonna happen in the future. Now, let's talk about Cory Aquino. Well, so I'm gonna be talking about her backstory, and I have quite a lot to say because I've been really preparing for this. So first of all, let's go start with her family and past things. So yes, they owned a lot of land in Tarlac, and they promised to give it back after 10 years. Then they suddenly had a child, well, you can guess, Cory Aquino. And she married Ninoy Aquino. So let's talk about what she has done with the province of the Philippines, Tarlac. So yes, she has a lot of things related to that, so let's start. So first of all, she married Ninoy Aquino, and they were both not really the best people at all, because what I'm about to tell you is gonna be bad. So, let's start. So, Cory Aquino and Ninoy Aquino got a bunch of land from Tarlac. Then, suddenly, a few months or years later, they suddenly owned the whole province of Tarlac, which is a very huge deal, since the population of Tarlac were mostly farmers, and you know, if you want to be a farmer, you need land. And guess what? Since Cory Aquino owned the whole province of Tarlac, which meant she had basically every single inch of land of the province, then how would the farmers basically grow their agriculture and stuff? That was a very, very sad time for the farmers. Well, since Cory Aquino decided to make a promise that she would give back the land in about 10 years, so yeah, the farmers agreed to that. And let's start to fast forward in time. Shing, shing, shing. So now we're fast forward 10 years later, and guess what? Well, you can probably guess it, that she hasn't given back the land at all. And the farmers were a little bit curious on why she didn't give back the land, because since she became the 10th president of the Philippines, surely she should have gave back the land, right? She was seen as a saint throughout the Philippines when she ruled, because they truly felt bad for her once her husband died, Ninoy Aquino, at the airport. Fun fact, if that one incident never had happened, then she would have probably never became president at all, and who knows what could have been avoided at that time. Well, let's go find out what other things she has done. So let's continue. Fast forward another 10 years, they haven't gave it back at all. So farmers got stressed and tired of waiting. It's been about 20 or 30 years. She hasn't gave back a single inch of land at all. She has owned a whole of Tarlac, and they really wanted their land back. They wanted their jobs back. They wanted their work back. They wanted their life to get even better. Well, clearly that wasn't going to happen anytime soon. So they arrived to Cory, and they decided to talk about. They tried to talk to her on why she isn't giving back any of their land to her, at least a single inch, but nothing. So they talk, and they go rival her and stuff. But since Cory did not have a good mood that day, she decided to open fire and kill approximately 37 farmers and a ton injured, which shocked the Philippines because they saw her as a saint.
It's allegedly because there's no evidence yet.
Oh yes. So she allegedly shot them. No, they allegedly they allegedly planned that to happen, but we are not so sure yet. But that is very much the most reasonable explanation we have so far. So yes. So she opened fire to a bunch of farmers who have been killed that day. So rest in peace to them. She allegedly opened. Yeah. So yes.
Not she asked somebody.
Yeah, she allegedly asked somebody to do all of that bad work. So yes, that's what we know so far, and most probably is the most reasonable explanation. So yes, let's go stick with that. And next of all, so let's go continue. And a little spoiler ahead, there will be a bunch of killing related to this. So yes, so the farmers went back to Tarlac and decided to revolt on Cory Aquino because she wasn't the saint that the Philippines has imagined. Well, I think a lot of people have been starting to regret their actions that they did on Marcos now. Well, let's see. So then, Cory sent some of her soldiers to go attack some people in Tarlac and kill a few farmers. So yes, so a lot.
Hacienda Luisita.
Oh, and Hacienda Luisita was one of the lands that Cory owned, and that's the place where that incident had happened. So yes, I'll be talking about that. So a lot of farmers lived there and held a grudge to Cory Aquino because of the land she hasn't distributed yet. So the soldiers had arrived there and decided to shoot a bunch of farmers. So 9 were killed and 30 plus were injured, which is a very sad thing because the Philippines expected better from her, and she has truly disappointed them all. So yes, she's killed a few farmers, and one of them was a dad, and their 2 sons his wife and kids were watching as he got shot, which was clearly really, really sad. His own dad as well has seen him got shot, which was very traumatizing for them, and I really hope that they've gotten better because clearly that's not really good. Philippine history really is interesting, alright? So yeah, so she has done that to the bunch of farmers, and she also, here's a little thing that happened instead of the land in Tarlac. She also did not care about the people who were suffering in poverty at all and did nothing to improve the Philippine economy. She basically did that and tried to keep as much power as she wanted. And they said that her kids weren't the best either, but I'm not really sure about that. All I know for sure is Cory is really not a good person, as I'm aware of. So yeah. And by the way, Cory Aquino died in 2009, which was about 14 years ago, and she died to like lung problems or something. Yep.
How about your martial?
Oh, about martial law, it was a lot of people spread lies about it. They said that it tortured a lot of people, that it killed people, and they were practically spreading lies, but I'm not sure about that. So yes, but I feel like martial law is really just a good thing, and people are just really hate him for some reason.
To be disciplined.
It was just to be disciplined and stuff, but really people did not like that at all and decided to spread fake rumors, and the rumors have spread far and wide across the Philippines, making a lot of Filipinos disappointed in him. But if you really want to know some of the truth, you could tell that Marcos was a very, very good person and that martial law really did nothing at all. And all those lies, those methods of torture, those who were killed that badly were really not true at all.
They were rebels.
And they were just rebels and really did not like him at all. So yes, that's what I know about so far. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, let's talk about a little bit about Marcos's son BBM, which is Bongbong Marcos. Yep, he got elected 1 year ago, and it was quite a close call because the other candidates were really so close to winning, especially one called Lenny Robredo, and yep, she was so close to winning since I was genuinely scared that time that she would win. Like I'm not trying to be offensive to her or anything, but like I was just scared that she would win because she didn't seem like the best president in my opinion. But if you really do like her, I guess just that's your opinion and stuff. But luckily BBM has won, and I am very positive that he will do the best to the Philippines just like his father. He's gonna be following in his father's footsteps, like I wanna say. So yes, I think he's a good president so far. He's funny, he's good. Yeah, I think he's a good president for the Philippines. Just like Duterte, our last president. He was genuinely a good president. I want to tell you one good deed I'm very proud of him for, which was cleaning Manila Bay. Like, trust me, it was one of the most dirtiest bays in the world. Like, I was like genuinely horrified once I saw how it was before. But once you visit it, you will be shocked how it's even better than some beaches on this earth because he's clearly made it spotless. His team has been working on it for a while. They've cleaned the ocean, they replaced it with some new sand, and wow, he's really renovated that beach real good. So yeah, he was one of the greatest presidents, and I will genuinely miss him and stuff. Yep. He ruled for 6 years, which is I guess the max rules to rule now, but I think he's just getting old and needs a break from all this very stressful stuff, because being a president isn't just the fantasy life you would think of, but it's really stressful because you need to take care of other big things that are happening in the country. You need to take a look at paperwork every day. You don't get a single bit of rest. So I'm glad that he's getting the rest he deserves and that BBM will continue to be a good president for now. And yep. Oh, and Imelda Marcos, did you know that she has lived more than Queen Elizabeth? Like, I'm really sorry, but that was the least thing I would expect. Like Queen Elizabeth is a British queen, and that I didn't expect Imelda Marcos to be alive today. And yes, she was Ferdinand Marcos's wife and BBM's mother, and she also talked about in some interviews on how it was very stressful and scary on when the people power started to happen. Like she was scared, she could hear the noises outside and people telling them to come out, telling that they were bad. It was very stressful. They were saying it was not like the beautiful life that you would have imagined living in the Malacanang Palace and stuff, but it really wasn't that good. Like they were truly traumatized on what happened, and yeah.
Shoes.
Oh, and she had a whole shoe collection. Like I'm not kidding. Like she was sometimes compared to Marie Antoinette sometimes in some interviews because she really had a ton of shoe collection. Like she had big ones, small ones, and she was, let's just say that she was a huge fan of shoes and jewelries. Like she lived a good life. But it wasn't all like that. But I'm just telling the positive things they were when Ferdinand was ruling as president.
They said they had ill-gotten wealth.
Oh, and they said they had a ton of wealth basically, but we cannot find it now. It's like Yamashita gold or something. Yeah, they called it the Marcos gold, and I don't really know where it is now. Like it's probably in the bank, but that was worth a ton of money at the time, and even now it was estimated to be 5 to 7 billion or maybe even more, but I'm not quite sure. But I can tell you and guarantee that it was a ton of money and that the Philippines was truly a very rich country at that time. Well, compared to now, it really isn't the amazing country that you would think of, but I'm telling you, it's a good place.
If they can use that money, we will be wealthy.
Oh, if they could use that money for something good, then we would be very, very wealthy. So yeah, I can't wait, and I really hope that the Philippines improves in the future and that we'll get future good presidents just like Ferdinand Marcos and many more.
Marcos once was a lawyer.
Oh, and Marcos once was a lawyer, and during his young adult years, he became a lawyer, which was very, very impressive because he has helped some cases and other things. I'm not quite sure what specifically what they were, but I can guarantee you he was a very smart person at his age because being a lawyer is one of the hardest jobs, and I don't think I would want to be a lawyer from how hard it is. So I'm very glad that one of our presidents were really smart at that time.
He conducted speeches without script.
He conducted a ton of speeches without any scripts, which is such a really, really smart thing to do because most people these days usually have a paper, a screen to read on, but at that time, Marcos was one of a genius and decided to make long hour speeches without a single script, which takes a lot of memory in your brain to do that. So yep, I think that is a very, very good skill, and that I can't believe he could make such good speeches with absolutely no effort at all.
How can you tell that he's a good person?
Well, I can tell that he was a good person from his past deeds, just like helping the poverty rate go down. He really genuinely cared about human rights and stuff. He did not like the sound of abusing human rights and other things. So he genuinely cared about the Filipino people, and that one heart-melting moment when he decided not to put fire to the people who were clearly annoying him, which was very, very glad of and very sweet of him for not doing all of that. And he could potentially have killed a ton of people, but he decided to be a good president.
Yes, the military.
Because he had the military, the one who had the potential to kill probably all the people there. But he really did not want to be a bad president, and he really did not want the future generation to think of him as a bad person, and he genuinely cared about the Filipino people, so he decided not to put out fire. So yeah, that's one really good moment because I don't know, because Cory really did not do the same, and they expected her not to do the same because they were so used to Marcos not being a bad president to them. They expected the same from Cory. Well, she did not. She really disappointed them, didn't she? But I'm not taking sides here.
What happened in Hawaii?
in Hawaii, he genuinely felt homesick because he loved the Philippines, his home place, the place where he's always been in. It felt very strange to just be in Hawaii, and he's been hearing about what they have been doing with Cory and other stuff, and yeah.
Why he can't go back to the Philippines?
He couldn't go back to the Philippines because he was exiled, and a lot of people did not like the idea about him coming back there, and he was basically banned from his own country, which was very, very, very bad. And I can't believe he had to spend his last hours on earth not in his own home country, which is genuinely sad to think about. And I can tell you and guarantee to you that he deserved way better than that, because I can't believe that always the good presidents have to die in such a bad way or have a very bad, sad backstory. Like, yeah.
How did he die?
So I think he just died from like disease or something. I'm not quite sure what the specific disease is, but yeah, that's how he died and stuff. Cory Aquino died to lung problems or something. So yeah, they both died that way.
You don't know Cory.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. I think that's all I know so far. And I genuinely love Filipino history, and especially the ones about Ferdinand Marcos, because this has truly interested me, and that there are so many good documentaries that I've watched, and I have been enlightened, and then I noticed how interesting this is. Like I can't believe such a good president had to go through all that. Like, I wonder if these things would ever happen today, and that history would repeat itself. Well, I wouldn't like that to happen once again, but it's just very interesting, and I love these stories, which are real facts. Yeah.
Have you remembered when we were in Heritage Hotel?
Oh, and by the way, last year when we were in the Philippines in Heritage Hotel, I remember seeing like a whole campaign of people trying for BBM to win. Like, they rode on motorcycles for days, maybe weeks, I don't know. Like, they would go on, and they finally reached Manila, and wearing red because that was his signature color at the time, and maybe even now. And there were like floods of people coming there, and we were genuinely shocked, and we were very positive that BBM would win from all the support he had. And guess what? He really did win. I'm very glad. Yep. So that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this small talk about Ferdinand Marcos and his life, and just politics, simple ones. Philippine history, Philippine politics. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed about this. Goodbye, everyone.